We are going to call this meeting to order. If any of you get messages from your friends saying, why is this not live streamed? Nestor was trying to live stream us tonight, but we just moved our whole IT cabinet, and somehow a wire is broken or disconnected, but we are still going to video this meeting, and it will be available on the YouTube channel after it's over. So just so everybody knows, because somebody may text y'all and say, hey, the meeting's not up, but we're working on it, so we're going to do the best we can tonight.
I'm gonna be mad at you, man.
Would y'all stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alderman Miller, would you give our invocation for us?
Heavenly Father, once again, we are so thankful, Lord, for this another day you allow us to witness that we have never seen before. We pray on tonight, Heavenly Father, that whatever we do, first of all, Lord, that you be pleased with whatever. Then, Heavenly Father, actually continue, Lord, to bless our soldiers wherever they might be. Then, Lord, continue to bless this city, this county, this state, and the world. These things, actually, in His Son Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Can I have a motion to approve this amended agenda?
Motion. Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Can I have a motion to approve the docket of claim numbers listed on your agenda?
So move.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on July 18th?
Motion. Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And that motion passes. Item 7 is the consent agenda. Can I have a motion on that?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 8 is the personnel agenda. Can I have a motion on that item?
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 9, the donations docket. Can I have a motion on that item?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Next, item 10 is the approval to apply for the Rural and Tribal Assistance Pilot Program Grant. GIA is going to be applying for this if y'all approve it. There is no match. There would be opportunities for walking, biking, or EV technology to improve the quality of life of residents and improve economic development. It is a competitive grant, but we won't be hiring anyone to do it for us. GIA is working on getting that done. So we just need approval from the board to apply for it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Did Sarita make it yet? All right, we're gonna, if y'all are okay, we're gonna skip item 11. I got a message that Miss Drake is stopped at the train. So when she comes in, we'll come back to that item.
Train. Train?
There is a train that stops here occasionally. Item 12, Ann Lunsford to address the board on funding for Precious and Pink. Yes, ma'am, would you come up and address the board? You can use the microphone right in the center there.
First of all, thank y'all very much for the donation from last year.
Yes.
We appreciated it very much. I would ask that you give the same amount or more if you possibly can for this year. I do currently have 10 women at the house, and it's takes a lot to keep them fed and watered and take care of their medical needs and all the things that we have to have just to live daily life. And
How many have moved on, or how many are still there from last year?
I have 2 that are here from last year.
Okay.
And one of them is working, and she's in drug court. I have 4 currently doing drug court. And so, but one of them has gotten a job. And one of the ladies that was here last year is, she's been working at City Hall Cheesecake now for 2 years, and she got an apartment in April.
Great.
And she's doing really well.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
The ones that's just for information, you don't have to be detailed about it, but just for information purpose, since you say you have 4 in drug court and out of those 40 in drug court, only one of them is working. So how do you maneuver the fines, because they are required to pay drug court fees on a monthly basis? So is that, I mean, you ain't got to get into detail how they do it, but is that being taken care of pretty well?
We do provide assistance for that until they start working.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for doing what you do, and we will absolutely be presenting this to the board as part of the budget. So,
Thank y'all very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Item 13, Siboney from the Chamber to request approval for food trucks at the Water Tower Festival. As y'all know, y'all passed the new food truck ordinance, so we can make food trucks legal and available to the citizens. And one of the ways you can do that is when you approve an event, you can just say food trucks are part of this event. But when we approved the Water Tower Festival, we didn't officially say that. So I think you're here to ask for that. You want to add anything to that?
Just that we would like to have some. We have, I think, maybe 14 right now. So that is rocking and going.
And I think you've talked with Gia and Austin, and you're going to make sure they collect the sales taxes for the city of Hernando and have all the permits they're supposed to have in accordance with our ordinance.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve for food trucks at the Water Tower Festival.
Second.
Is there any other discussion?
Austin, there's nothing that limits how many they can have or anything like that, right? I know that within a food truck park it does, but there's no language that.
Right, the exemptions basically to exempt it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Thank you, Siboney. Next, remember at our last meeting, we had talked about the chamber applying for some of that grant money through the ARPA funds they are getting and doing the signage, the wayfinding signage. Another piece of what they want to apply for are the string lights on Panola Street. So, Dr. Clay, would you like to come up?
We identified that another way to help the city and have ambiance would be to put lights on Panola Street. Several other cities in Mississippi has done that, and it adds to the city. So we worked with Austin and Lee and Paul Whitfield to come up with a plan to do that. So Paul Whitfield was supposed to be here tonight to talk about the logistics, but something came up. So I can answer any questions about how that would happen.
So what they're talking about are the string lights that come across the street to kind of create an atmosphere under the lights. They'll be tall enough that trucks could drive under, from what I understand.
Yes, and for the tent that other events host, it won't interfere with that at all. And there'll be poles that will be put, 2 on the east side of the street, 2 on the west side of the street. They won't encroach on the sidewalks. They'll be in the flower beds closest to the square, and then the other ones will be on the east side, just past the Guarantee Bank building, on the curb of the sidewalk. And then on the west side of the street, it will be just at the end of the courtyard, close to the existing power pole that's there. That will take up one space at the end. That space is a little extra wide. That's where Mr. Whitfield thinks the pole should be.
So will any of the lights be running east to west?
From those poles, there will be cables running parallel to the buildings. The lights
North and
will
south?
zigzag over the street from the cables, not to the poles, though.
And Lee, just for, yeah, I got it. Okay, I got it. Lee, just for I think for safety's sakes, that we should post the height anyway, even though we said that they would not interfere with trucks. I think it'll be our due diligence on us to post the height in case somebody do come through there and tear them down, then we'll have some, and I'm gonna yield to the attorney for this, we will have some legal standing that said it was posted that no truck should pass above this height, so if they have to tear them down, it wouldn't be no cost even to the chamber to replace them. Am I pretty much correct?
How tall are they?
The poles are 40 feet tall, and they'll be dug 4 to 5 feet in the ground with concrete, so it'll be about 35 feet tall.
How much sidewalk?
Yeah.
Mr. Whipple didn't tell me that exactly, but they will be higher than the current cables that run from Ms. Meacham's building to that power pole. They'll already be higher than what's there currently.
So in events where there are tents set up there on Panola Street, your lights will be above the height of the tents?
Yes.
Okay.
So it won't interfere with the tent at all, how it's already currently being done.
You can never be too safe. Mr. Miller, sounds like there's gonna be plenty of
See,
clearance, but certainly can't be too safe.
We didn't hear the height earlier about feetage, and so now you just put, just share those concern now has been removed now when you mentioned the height cover.
These are up year-round?
The
Or
lights will be up year-round. The power is coming from the existent power pole there. It can be a heavy-duty switch where you just switch it on for the event and turn it off afterwards, or it can be some other type of dusk to dawn or a timer that can be turned on more year-round, depending on what y'all approve. The annual cost, if you use it more, obviously will cost more. The LEDs last for a long time. He said it's a total of 700 watts, which would be somewhere between $500 to $1,000 of upkeep a year if something has to be done. The bulbs are $10 each.
Is the light color the same as the current lights that are around the buildings? Is it a warm white?
I didn't ask him specifically that, but we can require that, make that happen.
Yeah, I think if they match, that would,
But the others are not LED, so it's gonna be different anyway.
might be a little bit different, but are they not? The
From
new
the
ones?
building?
it just depends. I
Yeah.
mean, it just depends on what you're getting. They can be 2,700 and be warm white, or they could be 6,000 and you're supposed to do surgery underneath them, so it just depends on what you want. I mean, you can buy whatever you want. They can program them. They can be dimmable. I mean, there's a million options you could have with them.
We'll
I
make
would
sure
think.
that as y'all are getting closer to construction, we got a couple of experts on the board on lighting, so we'll
Fantastic.
let y'all work together. Okay, is everybody okay with them moving forward with that application? We probably need a motion because they're going to be erecting them on city property.
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes.
Thank you.
I appreciate all the work you've done working on this and the other projects.
It's gonna look good.
Okay, is that Sarita? We'll skip her we'll give her time to sit down. Item 15 is the approval for the annual payroll deduction for employee paid membership for the AirMed Care Network. Y'all will remember, a lady came and talked to us about allowing our employees to possibly sign up and pay for insurance in case they needed to be airlifted. It takes a board action to allow another payroll deduction. So Julie met with her, and I think with the direction of the board, we felt like y'all wanted us to allow that payroll deduction, so we're officially bringing it to you to allow that to be something employees can get if they want to.
So it's total voluntary?
Yes, totally
Okay,
voluntary.
we're
at
not
their-
paying for it, they're choosing to pay
Right.
for it or not? Okay.
How much is it?
Julie?
70.
Is there a motion on that item?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve annual payroll deductions for employee paid membership for AirMed Care Network.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Sarita, we skipped you. He did. We knew you were stuck, so come on up. It's not your fault. The train is Alderman Robinson's fault. Today, we take turns taking fault for it.
I was sweating it.
It's okay. And we've got some in our packets already, maybe a little bit more, okay.
How you doing? Thank you.
Good evening.
Thank you all for coming back to me. I appreciate it. My name is Sarita Drake, and I'm the Executive Director at the House of Grace. The House of Grace is a domestic violence shelter in DeSoto County. We serve 11 counties, and if the client that we are referred from is in another shelter in any part of the state, we will work with them to get them to our shelter. Sometimes the client's abuser has found them in another shelter, so they have to move them far away. And a lot of times they'll come to our shelter. Our shelter is in South Haven. It's a hidden shelter, and it is so exciting to be a part of what we're doing. It has become busier and busier as time goes on. Right now we have 7 children, 3 adults. Our capacity is 12, so we are overflowing. When our clients come to us, we offer them a lot of the services that I wrote on this paper. I'd like y'all to kind of know what we offer. We are a Christ-centered way out of a seemingly hopeless situation for the survivors of domestic violence. We use the money that you have graciously given to us, and I pray we'll do again, to offer these services free of charge. We offer an emergency temporary shelter. Everything you would have in a house, we offer to the clients. Some of our clients come in and we welcome them. The police department will bring them because we're a hidden shelter, so they can't drive themselves. So when they come, basic needs first. I'll say, how can we help you? And the children usually are in shock. One of the last people we got, there was a 7-month-old, a 2-year-old, and a 7-year-old. And the 7-year-old jumped out of the police car and just hugged me and said, "Can we stay here? Is this where we're going to live?" And I just imagine that the situation that they came from was very, very hard. And the mama said, "We are hungry." And so we fed them. And then I said, "How can we help you?" Like, first things first. We showed them where they were going to live, the room they were going to have. And she said, "What about clothes?" And I said, and I try and be real careful that I don't make them feel bad. And she said, "What we have on is what we have." So we jumped into action, and my shelter manager and I took them to a store, and we got them clothes. So we try and meet their needs, the first needs first. A lot of times they have been in a situation for so long that they can't think really. We offer counseling. We have a trauma-informed care counselor, and she is available to our clients. We have an emergency food pantry, but we have a local food distribution that on Thursdays we get to go pick up supplies for our shelter. We are a court advocate service. I'm a court advocate. I go to the court with the clients, and I'm there for support. I will stand up with them, with their abuser. They're so scared, and I will just stand with them just for support. We have housing resources if the criteria is met that they are domestic abuse survivors. We give out COVID-19 education and testing. We partner with people to do parenting classes. The moms are now asking, they'll say, "I need parenting classes. Can you make that happen?" We have a couple of clients that are expecting. We had one that went and had her baby last week, and she's back at the shelter, and hopefully she's going to move into housing in the next 2 weeks. They have cemented the house for her. We work with several across the state housing resources. I don't know if you've heard of MUTE, M-U-T-E-H. It's Mississippians United to End Homelessness. When they're at our shelter, they are considered homeless. We just helped a little boy, he's 7, get into school. And he's going to get all his supplies for the year, all his snacks, all his meals. So they're just thrilled. So people are working with us. My church came today, and they're going to partner with me. They're like, "How can we help?" And I said, "Well, these are our needs." They actually helped me print this today, so I'm thrilled. Some of the services that we provide: physical shelter for up to 12 survivors, including everything that comes with that. We have a laundry room, full kitchen. We have like Terminix comes. We have the fire department. They just came and did our fire inspection. So we have everything that you would need for a house. We also provide transportation to court, doctor's visits, school enrollment, health department, anything you can think. Gas cards. We help them get clothes, bottles, diapers, wipes, housing fees when they get a house, language interpretation line for those who don't speak English, counseling, which I talked about, Terminex, security fees. We have an alarm system and cameras, which I didn't realize is so important. We had a client damage and, I don't know how to say it, just tear up one of our things. And I took it to the police, and they said, do you have proof that she left the shelter, came back an hour later? Because in that time frame is what this happened. I said, I do. He said, that's what we need. Good. So I'm learning more and more every day. We have challenges. We have a 24-hour staff. The shifts 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., 4 p.m. to midnight, midnight to 8 a.m., and then we have a weekend shift. So we have a crisis line, which I provided. It's on this sheet over here in the green box. It'll say crisis. 24 hours a day, it's answered. Or you can call me and say, hey, we need help. And we are more than happy to do whatever we can to help our survivors. And I just thank you for having me here.
Thank you. And we will be considering your request in our budget like we did last year.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Do y'all have any questions? I'll be more than happy to.
Any questions? Thank you again for
Thank you.
coming. We will keep you informed as the budget process goes
I
along.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, item 16 is a presentation by the Hernando High School students and also recognizing Margaret Hicks to talk about the National History Fair they went to. And I will say that as Margaret comes up, she was nominated for the prestigious Patrick Baring National History Day Teacher of the Year Award. So that was a very big honor to get recognized in that nomination. So.
Hi, thank you for allowing us to come and show off some of our work. This year was the first year ever any DeSoto County students entered the State History Fair. We had 3 teams and 4 individuals that came from 2 schools, from Hernando High School and Sacred Heart in South Haven, and they went to regionals. And our 3 teams, we had 3 teams from Hernando that swept first, second, and third place. First 2 teams went on to state. There they won first and second place in the high school division. And another Hernando resident from Sacred Heart won first place in the state in the middle school division. We had those 3 teams went to Washington, D.C. in June 11th through 15th. They went to the University of Maryland and competed in the National History Fair. First time our schools had ever gotten to go. And the 2 young ladies you see here are Annie Burford and Emily Zamaron from Hernando High School. They not only won first place in the state with their Mother of Modern Medicine project about Henrietta Lacks, they also were one of the top 26 projects in the nation. They competed against not just American schools. There were 46 states represented, but there were also 13 international American academies and American territories and protectorates. So there were students there from as far away as South Korea and Hong Kong. And they got to be one of the featured projects that was featured on Flag Day in the Smithsonian Museum of American History. And so they got to stand, and they're so cute. I just love them to death. They said, what is this? And they were looking at, there was this old wagon that was next to them, and I said, ladies, you are displayed right next to Clara Barton's first ambulance. I mean, how cool is this? Then the second place team did not, both of those young ladies have jobs and they had to work tonight, and so they weren't able to get here. But the second place team that competed, their project is also here, the history of women's property rights in America. And then Will, over here on the end, was competing for Sacred Heart Schools. As of Thursday, he'll be a Tiger in Hernando. And he went all the way to nationals with his project on Charlie Pride as a Mississippian who was a pioneer of racial diversity in country music. And so all three of these projects, like I said, they were featured. They competed. They were in it to win it. We're going to be back. I think my young ladies here were asking me earlier, what can we do to re-enter again? And last December, Mayor Chip was gracious enough to come be a judge for our local fair at the high school. I would appreciate some more judges, hint, hint.
I helped pick the winners.
You did. You helped pick the winners, and hey, you picked some good ones there, Mayor. So because they were fierce competitors. There was real competition, and it was an amazing experience for all of our students that got to go. I would like more. I'm too competitive to just stop it this year. I want to keep going, and I want to take more teams and more categories. And I think we can really go amazing places with our students from Hernando.
I think this is a big accomplishment for the whole city, and thank y'all for representing us.
This was the first time we've ever been in it and went this far. I'm very impressed with our students.
Great. Thank you for all you do.
Oh, thank you.
I think they're going to leave these here for the night. So when y'all get ready to leave, if y'all want to go by and take a quick look at them on your way out the door.
And I'll come back and get them tomorrow.
Okay. Thank y'all. We'll move on to item 17, the approval to accept the 2024 DUI grant agreement for $133,782 and for me to sign it.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 18 is the approval of the resolution to add cost of demolition of the two houses listed there on College Street back to the tax roll. As y'all know, y'all declared them a public nuisance. Lee's department had them demolished. And now y'all have to officially ask us to put the cost that we incurred on the tax roll so we can recoup them someday.
So move.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes.
And Mayor, I'd like to also acknowledge that the Public Works, the outstanding job that they did in clearing that area up and do it in a timely manner. And you will be seeing a couple more houses coming in the next month or so. Right, Austin? Probably next month or two. Next month or two in that same area as we go through trying to improve the blight and the cleanup in this area. Okay. Thank you again for a job well done.
I will say that it was actually the Assistant Director, Curtis, and Lee were basically the ones on the tractors tearing down those houses, so we appreciate that. Item 19 is the approval to accept $1.5 million from House Bill 603 for the Highway 51 and Oak Grove Road intersection and open the required separate bank account for the funds and for me to sign the agreement. And just as a little history, we have gotten $500,000 already. That's in a separate bank account that we've been spending on the engineering fees and things of that nature. This $1.5 million will go in another bank account to be used for construction fees. And just so everybody is kind of up to date, I talked to Vince Malabassi today, the head engineer on the project. Joe Frank has been working on getting easements from the right-of-ways from the landowners there. He's been getting appraisals for them. Have the appraisals come in yet? Not yet. Okay, so we're waiting on the appraisals so he can make them an offer. The utilities are ready to be moved. The companies are in line to do that, but they will be moved onto the properties that we acquire. So we have to do that first. In the early spring, maybe January, February, I'll be asking y'all to advertise this project for bids, and then we will proceed. We had hoped that it could be built in between school time from May to August. The engineers on the project have really conferred on it. They have also talked to some contractors. It's probably a 5-month project. So we're going to go to the Board of Education and kind of get their ideas on if they want us to start during the school year and end before next year starts, or start after school and go into the next, and kind of get their opinion on how they want us to schedule it. And the total cost, estimated cost on this project, we know how estimates go, is about $2.2 million. So if y'all can do the simple math, we've only got $2 million in the bank. It's a big enough, important enough project, I figure we could fund the rest of it out of the city coffers if we have to. However, I would like to go back to the legislature again this year before the project starts and ask them to help us fund the rest of it. So we'll be doing that, and I'll probably get y'all to sign a letter, all of us asking the legislature to help fund that. So that's kind of the update. Joe, did you want to add anything to that, or did that cover most of it? Okay. Any questions or concerns?
So I guess we would ask that Public Works them put that in there, that we start working on this year's budget, that they were going to include that in there, so we can at least be looking at the number, so in the case we do get the additional revenue, we can always pull that back and put it somewhere else.
Okay.
You know.
That's a good idea.
And you're saying the 2.2 includes like the engineering, the purchasing of the, right, all?
That should include it. That's
Everything.
the estimate to include everything.
Okay.
But you just never know with these estimates. The bids keep coming in higher than estimates. So my recommendation would be, when we go to the legislature, would be to ask for another $500,000. And the way these funds work are, if you don't spend them, you give them back. So if we ended up with 2.5 million and it only came in at 2.2, we would spend the 2.2 and give the other back to the state. So that would give us a safer cushion, I think. But we can talk about that a little later. But for now, we need the official approval to accept that money and for me to open a bank account with the city clerk and sign the documents.
Is there a timeline on when these funds have to be spent?
3 years. So the first 500,000 clock started about a year ago, and we've been spending it down. It'll definitely be spent before the 3 year, and hopefully we'll spend all this by the end of next fall and have it open and ready.
But we also talked about in our memorandum that we were looking at also, even though it's 36 months, depending on where we're in the project, we can always go back and extend the time.
Yeah, the legislature.
It's 36 months, but they even almost include language in there that as you proceed and hadn't been, just procrastinating, they're just about extended for us.
Any other questions or concerns? Not, can I have a motion on item 19?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 20, Austin, do you want to talk about this one just a second? This is the request by DeSoto County to waive some permit fees and inspections for the Juvenile Detention Center project.
This is a renovation of the Juvenile Detention Center, just immediately adjacent to the administration building. We've done some preliminary reviews, and the county has requested that we waive the permit fees, review, and inspection. So basically, it just remove us from the project and let their inspectors and third-party inspectors do everything. So we're okay with it. The fire department's all right with it, and it's before you tonight for a vote.
And Vanessa had called me and asked me to put this in front of y'all. Any questions? Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Next, item 21, to authorize to publish a request for qualifications for engineering firms for the Green Tea Sewer Project. We found out early this morning that we did not get on the final list for the STAG grant that would have funded this through the Congressman's office. So we had all said that we were going to do this project anyway. So early this morning, when I found out, I called Daryl Dixon, who advised me that probably our best route was to go through MDEQ Revolving Loan Fund. They have 1.5% loan money for 20 years. That's probably the best route to take. But to do that, one of the first things we need to do is publish a request for qualifications so we can get an engineer to start designing it and doing the work. So that's step one. Then we can come back and talk about applying for the financing. But you have to have the plans almost ready and an engineer picked out, and they help do that work. So that would be the first step. And I've talked to an engineering firm that's going to give us the proper language to advertise for those RFQs, so we do it right.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
The motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 22, we do this every year at budget time, is to discuss the tax levy for official advertisement and approval to advertise the public hearing for the tax levy and the budget. And I think Pam has put y'all sheet in here that just shows that. It looks like, and this group of numbers you have here from Jeff Fitch's office are the preliminary numbers. They will be a little bit higher when he gives them to us at the end of this week, maybe 0.2% higher. But these are the preliminary numbers. And so we just the board has to basically say, we're good with these tax numbers. We are or are not going to raise taxes and advertise it as such. And just for the record, I'm not recommending that y'all raise taxes.
I'm in agreement with you, Mayor, too.
Any concerns or questions on it? We've got Ed here that could help us, and Pam, if y'all have any questions on it.
Well, we've been talking about, I think I gave a strong hint to the department heads on our last meeting that they need to be kind of flat, like some people that was coming before us. And I hope they take heed to that, because it ain't gonna be business as usual. We got to be more diligent in the taxpayers' monies with what we do. The pie is only so big, so we got to stay within that pie. And the last few years, significant amount of money, I think we all will agree, has been spent just about in every department, so that's a number hint to department heads again.
We saw about a 2% increase in our assessed value. Is that what it is?
About I think this is showing about a 2.2% increase, somewhere in there. When they do the full levy on they still are in the process this week of putting AWG fully on the tax rolls, but AWG is then going to exercise their fee in lieu of, which lowers their rate, but Jeff Fitch expects it to still be a higher number. So he's expecting approximately another 0.2, and we'll get those numbers to you by the end of the week, and these will get adjusted upward just a hair. That's the hard part about budgeting. We don't have all the numbers until right about the end of it, but we have to just do the best we can with the information we have while we're going through it. Is everybody in agreement with these numbers and ready for Pam to advertise these, and so we can set the public hearing?
Good with it.
And we're gonna stick with the proposal that we accepted on
the calendar?
On the calendars?
Yes. So as part of this, I would like to, one day next week, and I'm free Monday night, Tuesday night, or Wednesday night, or all three, if y'all want to go ahead and start working on the budget in public meetings, we could set one or two or three of those nights.
Well,
Not Tuesday.
I was just asking this,
What's Tuesday planning this meeting?
that I would like to see that the budget come from you, from the department head, that those budgets be pretty much settled before they get to us.
Yes.
That we don't go through and trying to line out in their budget. If anything, we go through and review those budget and then take away. We won't do like we do the last time. We're going through and trying to do their budget before us and kick off things that should have been done prior to them getting to the board. Is anybody not clear what I'm saying?
No.
We should be,
I agree.
okay, we should be presented a balanced budget. The balance presented to us should not be out of line. It should be a balanced budget presented to us. And we just know from historical stuff that that's not happening. That's when we wanted to go with the schedule. We see something that, with the budget that we deem that some more priority should be done, that's the time that we as a board add those things.
I'm a little confused because I did present a balanced budget, but I was asked to let the workshops kind of happen in public meetings. I've been asked by some aldermen to have the people present what they want and me not kick it out so y'all can see what they're asking for.
Well, I'm just speaking
So
for
I'm
Miller.
getting different.
I just speaking for Miller. I don't think that that's, the process is that the chief executive officer deal with the department heads and work out the budget.
I would agree with
And
that.
present a balanced budget. That's procedure. Now, I'm just saying, I would like to see the procedure followed. I'm just speaking for one person. Now, if I'm overridden with that by the numbers, then so be it, but I think it's a disservice to do that.
Who ultimately holds the liability for the budget when it's approved, the department heads and the mayor or the board of aldermen?
There again, what's the process? I mean, the process.
I'm gonna do what you do to me sometimes. Answer the question.
Okay, what's your question? Ask your question.
Who holds the liability? Is it the department heads and the mayor, or is it the board of aldermen?
Liability.
Yeah.
Liability.
Who holds the financial liability if the budget isn't squared up? Is it the mayor and the department heads, or is it the board of aldermen?
It's the board.
Okay.
We
So
approve. We approve.
So there's nothing wrong with it being
We
done
approve.
open and
We
transparent?
approve. It's not saying it's not transparent.
I feel like it's, in these workshops, if we have an open discussion about them, then there's nothing wrong with that either.
So that's you.
So we both have two different opinions on it.
Yeah, so that's 1-1. So we got 5 more. What did the other 5 say? What did the other 5 want? So we just cancel one another out. So you got the other five gonna decide.
I'll echo what you said. You and I have been sitting on the board longer, and that's what we've discussed all along. The budget should be presented to the board for our review and approval. It should come to us as a balanced budget so that we don't have to duplicate the effort that our department heads have already put into trying to present to us a balanced budget. So I'm in agreement with Alderman Miller.
But we can still have those publicly discussed. Any
Absolutely
questions or
can.
anything publicly discussed.
Yeah, they could bring the budget to the mayor. We could have those meetings based on what's presented to us being a balanced budget. And then we go from there. And if they can't bring that balanced budget to us, that's when those types of reviews become more important. But it ultimately starts with them.
We could forego the workshop process, and I could bring a complete balanced budget to the board on August 15th at the next regular schedule meeting.
Well, we got 4 more to hear from. You only heard from 3. You got 4 more. I mean, for the record, don't get high about it.
I agree with you, Doc. I mean, once the budget's here, that's not saying we can't change it.
Oh, and y'all usually do change it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the give and take.
Right.
I mean, I like seeing detail. I mean, I can understand both opinions. I personally, I like going through numbers, so I like that part, but that's just me.
2, 3. I already got 2 more to hear from.
I'm not saying anything, just to spite you. I mean, I think the way we've been doing is fine. I mean, if you my opinion on it, I don't think we make a bunch of changes anyway when it's presented to us. The last couple of years, I think everybody's pretty much got everything they've asked for.
I mean, the biggest thing that we discuss is if there's any questions for the department heads as to how important is that to them in this next budget year versus maybe us holding off, or can we maybe split it over the budget year and, see, just like we've done in the past with police and fire and things like that, just depending on how the budget's going, how the taxes are coming in and things like that. I think it's very important that we address all of those issues. And I mean, I'm agreeing with Andrew and y'all on this too, because we have to have something to start with that's balanced, and then we can back out of, back into it as far as the numbers go.
Well, since I started, can I offer a compromise then, and then we can move on? I'm gonna go with my friend being on the other end. But,
I mean, we can do both.
No, I'm finna act, a balanced budget could be sent to us, and then we still have the workshop.
And the way the calendar that y'all approved was laid out was that I would present the department heads and my budget in August.
Okay.
That's what it said. So I could have a full balanced budget finished up.
We'll have
The next-
the, we'll have the
August
workshop,
15th,
we'll have
then
the
we got 2
workshop
weeks
with a
after that.
balanced budget. How about that then?
Then we can haggle over it after that.
Nothing wrong with that.
How about that?
That's
You
I mean,
you
if
agree with
that gives you
Ben?
enough time.
I'm just
That gives me
asking.
enough time.
Okay,
Yeah, I've had individual meetings, the initial meetings already.
okay, if
Now
that
I've
gives you
got to
enough
get them
time.
all, Pam has to get them all into one budget, so we can see how they all add up, and then we go back to the department heads
So
and say.
who we ask is Pam.
Yeah.
We
Pam has to
we
do
good,
that.
Alderman Piper?
Yes, sir.
We good.
We're good.
Okay.
Wait, I still got to send you out the meeting about the other thing. I ain't through with that though.
Oh, my goodness. I should have brought dinner with me, I guess. I don't know.
A snack.
Did we vote on the tax levy?
We didn't.
All right, so we still need a vote on the item to the tax levy advertisement and approval to advertise the public hearing and
For the millage would be your 40.7654, is that what we're talking about?
yeah, the millage will stay the same.
Nobody wants to just go to 40 even, huh?
When we set it, you're setting it, it can't be higher or lower than 40.7654.
That's where it is. That's where it's been. And currently is.
But the advertisement is for that specific number and can't be lower or higher.
Y'all
Does
can
that make
advertise it however you want to, but I'm recommending we leave the millage where it is. But that's what this discussion is all about, is setting the tax millage.
1 mil equals $194,439.
Yes, sir.
And that's probably gonna go up some, so, according to, the numbers though.
I definitely don't want it going up.
I'm,
So if we set it at 40, that'd be less than $200,000 out of the budget.
Ed, do you have that number in the top of your head?
Nothing
Yeah,
like
you gotta
putting
do
you on the
math.
spot there, right?
Yeah.
but it said 1 mil to 194, so it gotta be on the, it's gotta be on the,
I mean, is it as
So
simple
What
as,
I will say
it's gotta be
is,
less than 194
if you
then.
compare it to last year, though, we are gonna
Huh?
have, we're gonna have less money in the general fund with this millage this year than we did last year, because the bond amount in dollar-wise went up and took some away from the general fund, because we had a surplus in the bond, and Ed, I'm looking at you so you can make sure I say this right. Last year, somehow or another, there was a chunk of cash in the bond account, so we were able to put less millage on the bond payments. We spent that last year, so this year we're back to regular, so there's more millage coming out for bond, which makes less millage in the general fund. So we're already going to be operating at less general fund millage than we did last year.
So we don't need to lower it.
No, let's leave it like it is.
Is that a motion?
So move. Remain the same.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Next, Lee, you want to come up and talk about this? We had brought to y'all that we had this 4.5 acres that we can't think of any way or reason we'll ever use it. It's landlocked, part of it's in a ditch. There's no good access to it. There's no utilities to it. And the people that originally sold it to us all those years ago kind of want it back. It's in their backyard, so.
Name is Mr. Wilhite, said it's been his family for 9 generations. Like I told you guys last time, I think, the city purchased it, in order to have a sewer treatment plant, put everybody down through there on sewer. I wasn't here then, of course, but the city went a different route, put in another lift station down the street. And we can't find any use for it at all. We have to go across 3 pieces of property, which we do have an easement for. But it's gotta go across 3 pieces of property to get to it. They got cattle, horses, stuff like that. We'd have to build additional fences to keep them out of there, keep them from getting run over, keep them from getting out. It just makes sense to sell it. I got a appraisal, I don't know if it's in your guys' packet, but it was for $45,600. So I've talked to Mr. Wilhite since. He is interested and waiting on us. So.
Make a motion to approve to sell that 4.56 acres, 51, at the appraised price.
there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just had a question. Where's that money going to go?
Well, we've got, me and the mayor were looking at that actually the other day. There's two small sewer cap loans. I think one was for $22,000, one was for $30,000. So we plan on picking one of those and paying the sewer cap loan off.
Perfect.
And to Mr. Pittman here, what's the procedure why, just in case, the motion is to sell for the appraisal price. We do know that it allow us to sell beneath the appraisal price based upon certain situations. So I guess when Lee come back with what the offer is, it might not be at the appraised price. And especially with that ditch and everything running through the property, it's gonna, even though he appraised it at that, and we looked at the other piece of property that he used as similar, they're not really similar because there's no ditches nowhere else in them other properties. And so I guess we have to look at that when you come back with your offer. I mean, whatever he say.
As of right now, from what I understand, anything could change, of course, but as of right now, they're gonna pay $45,600 for it.
That's good. I mean, that's shocking. I mean,
And that's what the board just authorized us to accept that and sell it for that, so hopefully that'll work.
He said he has a check, just wants the paperwork.
Okay.
Steve, write it up.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no.
Thank you.
That motion passes. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Lee.
There'll be one more loan we can get paid off.
Yep.
There you go.
Item 24 is to authorize the police vehicles with the VIN numbers listed on your agenda as unmarked pursuant to Mississippi Code 25-1-87. These will replace previously unmarked police vehicles with the other VIN numbers listed there that are now marked according to Mississippi Code 25-1-87.
Mayor, I'll make the motion to approve. Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. I need a motion to go into closed session to determine going into executive session regarding prospective litigation.
Motion.
We just removed it.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. We are now in closed session.
Did we just remove that? Okay, good.